Steady hand. That's it. Watch it.
Cast off line.
Casting off. We're away. Take us straight to Dunwall Tower. Lord Corvo has news for the Empress, and we've come a long way.
Player freedom is a hard promise to keep. Most any gamer can offhandedly recall multiple times they were promised a world of choice, only to run headfirst into invisible walls or automatic death when trying to take the game up on that offer. Game makers that promise multiple ways to play are the most frequent liars, theoretically offering several methods of conquering the world, but only expecting players to really choose one. Of these Snake-Oil developers, the worst offenders tend to fall into the stealth action category. With the action-adventure genre becoming too broad to be useful, designers add undercooked sneaking animations and throw in a few shadows in order to tick another feature on the back of the box. Gamers have grown wise to these tricks, regarding forced stealth chapters in action games as an offense as bad as the frustrating sewer levels of consoles past. Most of us would also choose to reload a save in a stealth game, rather than put up with its poor attempts at action.
Declining rapidly.
Thank you, whoever you are.
Which is why most of us were struck completely off guard when we got our hands on Dishonored. Arcane Studios' cel-shaded assassination simulator was first published by Bethesda SoftWorks in 2012 for the PC, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. And unlike the hybridized stealth action adventures of the past, playing through the plague-strewn world of Dunwall was equally fulfilling as a bloodthirsty maniac or as a calculated steampunk ninja. Our jack of two trades was Corvo Atano, a bodyguard to the Empress who was forced into the killer life after his mistress's assassination. The change in careers was a convenient one. Several high-value targets that sat between Corvo and his redemption were lined up for the slaughter, helpfully positioning themselves in the parts of the city that best embodied the class divide that exacerbated Dunwall's plague outbreak. If you want to know how to properly create an environment that plays to all of the skill sets that you're giving to players, you need only find yourself an invitation to Lady Boyle's last party.
A masked ball at the Boyle estate. Tonight, the timing is perfect, Corvo. But the Boyles are wealthy and ruthless, so security will be very tight.
Of course, you already have a mask, don't you, Corvo?
Corvo's fourth major assassination begins with a leisurely drop-off by boat in Dunwall's upper-class estate district. The posh, gated community is where we first encounter tall boys, police officers mounted in towering stilt suits and equipped with severely painful incendiary rounds. Whether by exploring the surrounding streets, teleporting down from balconies, or diving through sewer grates, Corvo must eventually make his way to the Boyle estate. If players did not raid the safe of the art dealer Bunting during a previous mission, the first step to gaining access to the party is finding an invitation. Luckily, a member of a party-going trio will drop hers, the wind practically carrying it into Corvo's outstretched hand. From here on out, aside from a few restricted areas within the Boyle mansion, the masked assassin is not seen as hostile until he attacks or performs magic. But what could have been a straightforward snatch and grab quickly becomes a labyrinthine play at hiding in plain sight. Lady Boyle may be your target, but 3 posh women in Dunwall go by that name, and it's up to Corvo to determine and eliminate the correct one. From this point on, the player has a wide variety of tactics to discover their target, from plying fellow partygoers for information with drinks, or slinking around in the off-limits upper floors of the house for revealing notes in bedroom safes. More direct players always have the option of slicing their way through every single person at the party, just to be safe, and the most patient players will find a non-lethal option of ridding themselves of Lady Boyle with the fashionably late arrival of one Lord Brisby. The identity of the true Lady Boyle varies between each game, but once discovered, assassinating her can be as simple as a swipe of a sword, or as complex as a multi-layered play of social etiquette. No matter which costume and name Lady Boyle has, she is far too knowledgeable to be downed simply by a drugged drink. If players snooped around upstairs, the diaries of the 3 ladies will provide personality cues that appear as unique dialogue options. The best way to eliminate the true Lady Boyle is to lead her, or be led by her, to a secondary removed location. Of course, one could always just kill all 3 Lady Boyles if they don't want to be classy about it. The story that evolves out of Lady Boyle's party is an interactive version of Edgar Allan Poe's The Masque of the Red Death. Corvo is a harbinger of death, rising from the plague-ridden outside world of peasants and entering into a secluded solace for the spoiled rich. The sickness festering on the skin of the poor is only matched by the blackened souls of the upper class. Ridding Lady Boyle through non-lethal means may be the most inhuman way of getting rid of her, given where and with whom she winds up with.
I heard she bathed in her own nephew's blood.
Ridiculous. What sort of hygiene is that?
It's a ritual for the outsider.
Most of the nobles Corvo can speak to during Lady Boyle's party are defined by an all-consuming boredom and subsequent need for more and more perverse thrills. Players can participate in one of the few instances of public, unpunished murdering in a gentleman's duel, and most partygoers will admit to doing their own pocket stuffing, should Corvo swipe a few coins off of one of the tables in the library. The Boyles 3 are the most extravagantly messed up of the bunch, each boasting an easily manipulated sinful urge. One Lady Boyle is desperate for aggressive sexual roleplay, another a lush, and the last a paranoid wreck. Killing your target here is one of the easiest missions in the game, largely because Corvo is operating in an arena where everyone thought themselves safe and invincible. Viewing the totality of the choices offered in Lady Boyle's last party, we see the best example of the uncommon flexibility present in Dishonored's level design. Those who want to indulge their inner Sherlock upstairs find a maze of rooms and studies and hallways not dissimilar to earlier levels, where constant patrols make every move a risk. Players wanting to help Corvo work on his people skills play along in a game of needless charades and rules, an embodiment of an idle class reveling while the world dies around them. Even those that immediately draw the ire of the guards find the initially open floor plan closing in on them like a net as enemies keep bursting through ornate doors. Adhering to one playstyle also took players through dramatically different perspectives of the same event. The upstairs network of private quarters was a parade of secrets being whispered as rumors below. The main party floor, an unnerving social ballet of dispassionate nobles willing to risk the lives of their fellow upperclassmen for a bit of delicious scandal. Those that worked with Lord Brisby for a more gentlemanly method of disposal had to ultimately navigate the network of kitchens and servants slaving away downstairs to provide the rich food for the party. Truly providing choice in video games is exhausting. Following through with dialogue options and playstyle choices often means multiplying the amount of assets that need to be created in order to have separate areas and different pathways, not to mention the time and cost it takes to create them and test them to make sure that everything works as planned. Dishonored is one of the rare games that succeeds at the promise of choice, and Lady Boyle's last party is the most lavish and intricate example of how it's done.
Last, oh my love, someday you will understand. You'll never know how happy you've made me. Someday she'll learn to appreciate me. After all, she'll have her whole life.
This video is made possible through generous fan donations on Patreon.